Hey y'all, Eric Adcock, This Awkward Life. There's a story that I've been wanting to tell since I got back from the out west trip back in September. Something that I discovered. And the only way I really know how to do this is just tell the story, what it means to me, and just kind of let it go. I feel like I need to tell it. I want to tell it. So while we were there, we took a train ride out to this little town called Silverton, Colorado. And it was a long train ride. It took almost 3 hours to get there from Durango, Colorado, to Silverton, Colorado. Excuse me. We went by train, and beautiful, just so much beauty. You just couldn't describe it all. But anyway, we get there, we get off the train, and we're gonna get something to eat. So, and there's a lot to the story. I'm just hitting the high points because I don't like my solo shows to go that long. But anyway, so we're walking down one of the little main streets, something to eat, and about to step on the sidewalk to go in, and there's a dime on the ground. And my father-in-law says, "Hey, Eric, there's a dime there," because I had done a podcast several years back on dimes, and I keep going back to that podcast because it just keeps popping up. About there's an old wives' tale that says if you find a dime, someone's thinking about you, and that touched a lot of people's hearts. So my father-in-law pointed out, I picked up the dime, and I took a picture of it and put it back in my pocket. So we go eat. And whenever I go somewhere, I've got an app on my phone that you can get if you're into ancestry and history. It's called Find a Grave. And it maps out, the graves, the cemeteries of graves that are close to you. And you never know what you'll find. You may find somebody interesting, somebody famous, some historical figure. And since I was like, I'll probably never be back in Silverton, Colorado. So I go to the Find a Grave app and there's one cemetery in the little town. It's not far away from the restaurant. But anyway, I find a grave marker for a lady named Nancy Ann Brockman. And I didn't know the whole details about. I just found there was a phone booth. I thought that's so interesting. She had put a phone booth out in the cemetery as her headstone. So I thought I'd love to go see it, but because the train was leaving, didn't have time to go do it. We were coming back that way the next day, so we were going to stop by. So the next day, we stopped back by Silverton, and we were in a motorhome, so we couldn't get all the way up to the graveyard. So me and my wife, I wanted to see this grave. I just thought it was so interesting. And Find a Grave's got the GPS locations, and we're like pretty high elevation for us. We're running around trying to find it, and we did. We found it. It's just a beautiful up in the mountains, just among the leaves of the trees were yellowish green, and here's this red phone booth out there. It's just very, it's very, very, very beautiful. And so we walk up to it, and I discover that Miss Nancy had put this thing called a wind phone out there. And when I got there, I just took that dime that I found and put it in there. And I felt a real good connection there. Like, before I read what this wind phone was for, I just put the dime in it. And of course, I thought about the people that had passed in my life, my mom and my dad. And so I got to reading about this thing called wind phones. And they started in Japan right after one of the tsunamis. This designer, and I can't pronounce his name, but I'll put a link to it in the descriptions of the podcast. Dealing with some of the loss of his life, he put this phone in these nice, very scenic, thoughtful places that people could symbolically call and talk to people. Maybe they had unresolved issues, and they would just have private, give you a way to reach out to people that had gone on. This is a therapeutic, symbolic way of reaching out to people. And I've never been able to forget the story, and then of course of this phone. Anyway, it just said he opened up a wind phone to the public, allowing residents a space to deal with tremendous collective grief. Visitors use the phone, which is not physically connected to any network. It's just a non-connected phone to talk, quote unquote, privately to relatives and friends who have died, saying anything, saying whatever is in their hearts. And it's just a very therapeutic, symbolic way of doing that. So when I got home, I just looked up. Miss Nancy had one of those little codes in the phone. And I'll post some pictures of that you can look up wind phones, and there's just so many of them across the United States. I didn't know anything about this, and I guess the story really meant to me. It really answered one question in my mind. Is not so much, I know there's an afterlife. Obviously it is. Our soul does something else. We either go to, in Christianity, what we call, either we go to heaven or hell or whatever. But we're always quick to think that, or at least I was taught by people, and I never really asked the question until now, like, we don't have any problem believing that the wicked sinner definitely goes to a place of torment, like boom, right away or whatever. But what does the saint get? Some people have told me, well, we just lay dormant, and some say they don't know or whatever. It just answered a question to me, or it posed a question in my mind, like, surely there's an immediate reward. Surely there is. Sure, and whatever that job would be or whatever that reward is, I do believe once you die, if you die in the faith and you've been a faithful servant to Christ, that you go and do something. You just don't lie dormant. And I don't understand, the first resurrection and all. I don't understand all that. I don't. But I can't believe that you would live for this place called heaven, and then once you pass away, because there's been a lot of people pass away. I mean, we're talking, it's no telling how many folks. And I guess I know I'm butchering this pretty bad. It's just a story I wanted to tell, need to tell, that I just feel like that we live for heaven. And I just believe that once we pass away, there's an automatic reward. There's something we're doing. I don't believe we have to wait. I believe there's something we're doing. And whatever that may be, maybe you rule and reign right away, and but the story of the wind phone really had me asking questions about that. There's just a deep connection between, I just felt a deep connection between that, the wind phone, and it just made me ask some questions. And I don't even know if I'll post this or not. I probably not. I'll probably just go to bed, because the more I talk, the sillier I sound. But no, I am going to post. I'm going to put this in. I'll put a link to the wind phone, and let people decide what they want to think on it. But anyway, it happened to me, just a story. But I just find it ironic, or I don't believe in coincidences, that, I'd find a dime and then find a grave or a marker there with someone that has and discover this whole idea of a wind phone. Anyway, it was very moving. It was very touching. And I think Miss Nancy Brockham, I've never met her, but I want to thank her for that. I may send this to the mayor there in Silverton. I don't know, but anyway. Yeah, just kind of what I was thinking tonight.